man.
Man.
I know one thing, and it's that I am a man.
Yo.
Oh.
All together. Never shall we fall. Yo. Nuns and beggars. Never shall we fall.
I imagine you late at night watch scary
As you
TikToks.
often do.
Yeah.
I actually watch too many scary TikToks.
What do you like, boogling yourself?
The boogly ooglies. To the extent where I quickly skip through because some of the most terrified I've ever been in my life is at TikToks.
Really?
Oh, really? Yes.
You shouldn't be getting scared.
No,
at
because
TikToks.
they do really terrifying special effects and faces.
Do you not think is it embarrassing to be scared?
Yes.
While on your phone?
Correct. Alone
Apart
at
from
night.
I think news notifications, it's fair enough to be scared. Bomb incoming.
Scared, yeah. Well,
But I do think getting scared at videos on your phone is embarrassing.
look, I'm not saying
The
it's
bigger
not.
the screen, the more acceptable it is to be scared.
So sometimes I think horror can be weighed down in narrative.
Sure.
So there's often the biggest oogly booglies you can have is like they do these weird filters, and it's like just as simple as someone will be at home, and then they kind of hear then they'll hear something behind them, and then it will be at the top of the stairs of a basement, just in a black, just a light comes on, and it's a scary figure, and that's like as simple as it can be. Without this
is
whole
it an account that does specific boutique horror TikToks?
Yeah.
Bespoke. Actually, not
Yeah.
boutique.
It's not
What's
like
boutique mean?
Boutique. I've actually had this problem before. I
don't think that's
didn't
the-
understand. Well, yeah, you've come to the wrong man. What's the other thing that's like boutique?
Bespoke.
Yeah, I had a pub on a night out once. I tapped my friend on the shoulder and whispered, "What does bespoke mean?"
Well, bespoke is what I meant to say when I said boutique.
Boutique, I think, is
bespoke.
Bespoke is made to
horror
order.
TikToks.
No, it's not bespoke because bespoke would be made to order. It
So
would be like
this sign was bespoke,
yeah, made to order.
and this podcast is boutique.
Yes, we don't unless we do a Q&A, then it's bespoke.
I follow like an animator who does like horror like animations with like big creatures, but that's not even boogly. That's more just like like a scary vibe.
I don't think you're probably on Horror Talk then, because there's somewhere I've gone like fuck, because I've then been scared to go to the toilet in the night. I'm a bit of a pussy. And like I like
It's
horror.
embarrassing to be scared to go to the toilet.
Yeah, it is.
Because that means you also need a piss.
Yeah.
And you're scared.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Wee himself.
Did you not go to the toilet because you?
I did go to the toilet, but it's like I don't want to. You know when you don't want to leave your room out of fear of the oogly booglies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I get on Horror Talk because I'm actually, as I say, I think just a quick in and out is actually some of the scariest things you can have.
But so not a giant ship. And the song. Oh.
No, not the anchors. I don't go. I'm not leaving my room. I'm not leaving my room. No,
What's that? Not misophonia. Is that misophonia? The fear of big things.
I'll most likely be wrong, but I'm pretty sure misophonia is annoyance at loud sounds,
yeah.
which is what I have.
But all those yo-hos, right?
Yeah. Yo-ho.
They're all talking about the kind of innate fear of a big thing.
Yeah, it's not misophonia.
And whatever that is, I think it's attention seeking. The people who say they have a fear of big things.
Yeah.
Do you know those people? I think shut the fuck up. Seriously, it pisses me off, these people.
Now, I get it. And I think this goes into my whole...
Oh, you had a megalophobic...
This is my shark thing.
What, the shard?
The shard, no, that was an accident. I don't have a phobia of the shard.
No,
I was surprised by the shard. I'll do it quickly. When I wasn't living in London, I came up to
You were a
London.
small town boy.
I was a small town boy. Hassocks born and bred. Someone dragged me up to the big city for some awful reason. And
With your dreams in your pocket.
Yeah, and a water bottle in my bag. And I then came out of London Bridge Station, and I think it was the Underground.
Yeah.
But there's one that's right at the bottom of the Shard, and I just got. I didn't have any bearings in London whatsoever. Hadn't got a clue where the Shard was. Forgot it existed, to be honest. And then got out with my rucksack on, and just stood. And it was almost like I saw this building, and then I just kept looking up, and it kept going up, and kept going up. And I nearly fainted. I was like, oh.
That's megalophobia. That was a megalophobic reaction.
That's like a jump scare.
What, the shard?
The Shard jump scared me because I had no idea it was going to be there.
Yeah.
But no, megalophobia, look, that's kind of what started my obsession with sharks in a way. It was like these big fish. I love a big fish because I'm like, what's going on there? I'm scared of sharks, but I'm fascinated by them.
Yeah, I understand the erotic angle of megalophobia. I understand like the kind of like, oh, this is kind of big and scary. Like, or like playing around in it, but making it part of your...
All too never shall we fall.
That's a sound that has stayed on TikTok longer than I thought it would. Actually, it's kind of embedded itself into the canon.
Big anchors and big waves are scary. When you see a little ship, big wave.
Yeah.
I don't think you're on. Get on Horror Talk. Type in Horror Talk.
Well, I get like the real stories Horror Talk.
Yeah,
which is they're kind of really harrowing because they're real, but it would be like body cam footage of a police officer goes to man's house who's just killed his whole family, and then you can just see the man being like, just been sitting at home.
That's more psychological talk. Horror, that's more like, wow, that's more being appalled by something, or like,
I guess so.
That. Do you know what I mean?
I would like to, if we had more time, I think us making a sub account which just made horror TikToks, see a horror.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because it is kind of very similar to comedy.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Surprise,
it's us.
Surprise.
Scared. We'll laugh or be scared.
I've got my special coming out in 2 days, by the way, so can you watch that? That's going to be on this YouTube, before I forget. And if you're sick of Andrew...
Yeah.
He's not in it once.
I'm not in it. I am in the audience. So if you're really sick of me, then don't watch it. You might hear a laugh.
Second show, you were pretty steaming by that point.
Yeah, I was there for a while.
You were there long. It was a long time.
It was a big gap between specials. I was just like, well, what else am I going to do other than get fucking pissed?
I'll stay.
I'll support you. What's he doing again? What's that bit? What? Speak up, mate. It'd be great to be heckled by a comedy partner, sincerely. While we're on the subject of TikTok, I might as well talk about Gary Walton briefly. One of my favourite finds in TikTok in general is to find people that are doing incredibly sincere content or something like that.
Yeah.
And then them have no followers. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, why? They're really just putting it out into the abyss.
Yeah.
But with Gary...
There's an artfulness to the lack of audience. Almost.
Yeah. It's like performance art in some ways. Well, now he's blowing up, and I've just realised this. But like, go on the eye contact one. So this is kind of Horror Talk-esque. So basically... Now, so I say go on that one because that's essentially what he does. He does this like evil smirk.
Sure.
But he's like, never more have I felt like the desire to call the police on someone because he's actually, look at him. Oh, this is my favourite one. Sorry, can you go to the start of this?
Someday someone will break you so badly that you become...
And watch the... It's him on the van. So
that's a knowing, right?
No, he's like the first evil influencer I've seen.
So he's going for that evil gap in the market.
Exactly. Just like, I might kill you, and I'm like, if you turn your back, don't worry, I'll get you.
I wouldn't mind Scary coming back in.
Again, he's not really scary. He's more evil, but scary.
Sure. Do you know what I mean? Because I once again. It's the emo kind of death metal satanic thing that's gone out of fashion. I do think going to a space where it's all about being bad and evil. And, that does feel quite refreshing.
Yeah. Well, Walton's your man,
Maybe.
Really. Again, I keep coming back to like Niv the Mildew guy.
Yes, that's one of your...
He's one of my guys. He's dropped off a bit.
Yeah. So what was his thing? He reviewed Mildews?
Yeah, he's in that category of people that become famous on TikTok for eating and then reviewing meals, but only giving it on a scale essentially between 8 and 9. They never really go below anything below an 8 or anything above a 9, which I then think maybe it's pointless reviewing this stuff.
That genre of person seems remarkably bad at dealing with any form of fame. It really, every single off the rails immediately. Yeah.
But every single one of them goes off social media for a while, and they have I'm really sorry, I'm struggling with mental health. It's like, well, maybe stop posting videos to TikTok.
I mean, Bevo, the rise and fall of Bevo.
Well, Bevo went big time. I kind of understand Bevo having I think if I was Bevo, I'd probably have a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to fall back on because if you're known for eating loudly and you end up on.
Yeah, it's hard to pivot.
Yeah, it was like what everyone loves you for going.
I could drink loudly, I guess. That's kind of like.
But if you're on a talk show and it was like we're here with Bevo, he's not really known for his thoughts.
No.
And how long can you go?
Yeah.
For? I mean, I loved the content at first. I really did.
You really connected with it.
I really connected with Bevo, even though because it was weird because I. Misophonia, I think.
Yeah.
Loud eating makes you want to kill everyone.
Well, often people with immense social anxiety love horror films.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying that maybe it's because of your hatred of it that it was sort of like a...
Yeah.
Was it something therapy? Exposure therapy. It was exposure therapy.
Well, yeah, because for some reason I found that I couldn't look or listen away.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes sense.
Being faced with it. Do you still have arachnophobia? Is that still going strong?
Yeah, it's not.
Or did you make that up for attention? Discuss.
Is this some sort of gotcha? Look, we all had to have something interesting about us at school. Otherwise, we couldn't get by whatsoever. And I decided, look, it's still there.
Yeah?
I think if you have dreams about spiders...
Are you getting L to get rid of spiders for you?
Nah.
No.
I can... Look, I'm not like the worst...
So toxic masculinity overrides
gotcha.
arachnophobia. Fine. So that's still going stronger than the arachnophobia.
100%. It always would. Yeah, it always would. Well, the thing is, look, I'm not the worst arachnophobic or the best, depending on your metrics. But I would never picking the fuckers up in my life. Of course, I'm not a psychopath. Like Dad. That was when I first knew what a man was. When I said, "Dad, spider in my room,"
bang,
and he just goes like that. Yeah. So now, whenever I do that with every other creature in my house that wanders in. Not like women.
Yeah.
And then I'll grab them and like throw them out with the hand.
Yeah.
But I can't do it with spiders.
How are you with Daddy Longlegs?
Yeah, they're like the little pussy brother, you know.
I think Daddy Longlegs,
You can't be scared of
there's a
something
romance for Daddy Longlegs. Not romance, actually. There's a charm to the Daddy Longlegs.
There is.
Because they're like, oh, they can't control where they're going.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like the Kramer of the insect world. They're just kind of...
Yeah, it's like Bambi. That it feels like they're on ice, you know.
Well, they feel like they're putting on a show. Like they're like a clown. Exactly. They're a clown, really.
And it feels like they don't have insidiousness because they can't control which direction they go.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like
there's no plan behind it. It's chaos. Yeah. There's no there's no plan to attack you. But no, I can put a glass over, slip a piece of paper under, get them, and then they're off.
We need to talk about the reaction of the audience to the different sides.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, because there was a big backlash that I wasn't ready for when I think accidentally we switched sides just because we'd got into a new room and it wasn't our normal places.
I didn't do it accidentally. We've discussed this at the pub. I did it fully purposefully.
What, just to...
Well, because to
flex your muscles a little bit.
Yeah, they're only good on that side. I said... We had a conversation when we first started this podcast that, like, because you wanted to be on that side.
Yeah.
And I want to be on that side. Yeah. And then you won the argument.
Well, it was more... It just felt... I think because it was my room...
You wanted to be closer to the window.
It just felt like you were still entering my room and it just felt... weird you being against the wall here.
Yeah.
Like the guest should be nearer the door of the room, right?
Yeah. No, I understand. I think
there was just like there's a feng shui element to it. Yeah. But this is a shared space, so it kind of...
So anyone can sit anywhere. Yeah. Is Charlie okay sitting there?
Yeah, Charlie's all right sitting there.
Okay, so but then when we get people in and that's not their space, they have to be closer to the door?
Yeah, but to be honest, if there was a guest...
Yeah.
And it was just you on here, I wouldn't want the guest sitting here.
If there wasn't a guest...
Because you're welcoming the guest into the room.
Yeah,
so if it was you hosting it with a guest, then you should be sitting here.
Yep.
It's like the way... Because maybe in Arabia it's different because you read from left to right. No, right to left. But here, the human eye scans from right to left. So it's the way of just reading, you know?
Is that on screen?
On screen. Well, naturally.
Okay. So you've gone for two different arguments there.
Two brilliant arguments.
Two fantastic arguments.
It bolsters my argument because I have two different ones.
I suppose so.
Yeah. It's double.
Yeah, because I was about to say, well, who cares about what the room's like? It's what it is on screen. Yeah. Because then you said, so I did it on purpose last week. Because it's kind of changed.
You took advantage of me.
I took it, I do all the time. Your forgetfulness, your lack of knowing what's going on. I get away with a lot of things. No, but I came in because and sat on that chair and I knew you'd say nothing about it because you weren't gonna. It's not going through that thick old noggin. But I thought previously that was my better side, on that chair.
Yeah.
And then we discussed this at the pub, and you said, well, this chair is your better side.
Well, I don't know if it is my better side. I naturally think it isn't, but I did get a couple of comments saying I looked good, and it was the first time they'd seen that side of my face.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the novelty. I don't know if,
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Oh, he looked nice on that angle.
Yeah, well, you've just never seen it before.
Well, we're not going to see because we've been bullied into taking back the original.
As I've said, this is fundamentally about schedule and routine for our autistic fan base.
It is really. We can say anything for a long time. But...
This is just as long as we release 9 a.m. on a Friday, then they're happy.
That's
and
fine.
Any change freaks them out. It was already a big enough change moving the studio. I brought up the new shed, and I happened to have laughed at the state of the shed, which I think is kind of
that's rude,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
we've just moved in,
and if anything, it's more honourable that we are turning a shed into a podcast studio. Anyone can, waltz into a podcast studio and say, "We'll use that, please."
Yeah, most podcasts would take a 3-month break.
Yeah,
so they could build the studio.
Would they?
No.
Yeah,
they wouldn't.
Yeah, that's fair, but not us.
I lied for views.
Oh, clip it.
Gripe. Give me a gripe.
When people don't cross the road when they have the opportunity, I think it's the death of our society.
Well, this would be in maybe a blanket thing of walking politics.
Yeah.
Which is kind of your ultimate.
Well, there's most of my
ultimate gripe. Yeah.
Most of my
so
gripes.
This is just a specific.
I've got the big walking politics gripe to come when I'm ready to do it. I'm not when the climate is significantly different. But no, this one actually it occurred. I jotted it down on my little notebook pad phone thing.
Yeah.
And when it was on the way back from the podcast, and it's okay. This doesn't count if you're disabled, if you're elderly, or if you've got any impairments that are going to stop you crossing the road at a brisk nature.
Yeah.
That is, you're done. You're fine. I know it's illegal. Jaywalking. That's the thing in America, isn't it? But it's when there's a red light. There's a red man, and there is fucking no cars whatsoever. Yep. And you are an able-bodied person, and you are just passively waiting for that light to turn green, when you could just cross the road and get to where you're going quicker. Seize life. Seize the moment. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. You don't need that green man to cross the road. You can see for it yourself. I'm not talking about if there's a hidden corner. It's a straight road. There's no issues of cars. There's no issues of cars. You know you're going to do it. But we're chickens. And we can't cross the road. We're chickens who can't cross the road. How did the chicken cross the road? He didn't, because he was an English person who waited for the light to turn green.
Okay. That's an interesting one, because I completely agree. I also think, we have differences, but we have similarities. I think we're both similar with how we view traffic lights.
Yep.
It's about being decisive.
We've got different colour hair.
There's lots of other stuff. I'm not saying we're the same person.
It's different. It's, that's
I could agree with you more on that
You're wearing
front.
green, they're wearing black. It's not all the same.
The differences are endless, right?
Yeah.
But on this, I couldn't agree more. I do think it's about being decisive. Some people say entitled. I would say...
Entitled?
I'd say
to who?
I would say it's about self-confidence, and I do think it reflects your view in life, and I do think the decision makers and the people who run things are people who walk on a red light. It's about minor rule breakage that you can use your cognitive ability, right, to overcome the rules, bend the rules without being deeply unethical.
Your peas and carrots.
So I do agree. I guess my thing is, I don't know if I view it as a gripe. I wouldn't view this as a gripe.
Yeah, I know, but it annoys me.
I think... Good. I'm glad that this world's full of sheep, because it means wolves like us.
Whereas I'm more empathetic to the sheep.
Sure. Wait, are you more like free yourselves?
I'm like a wolf. I'm a bit like Jacob in Twilight.
Yes.
I feel sympathy for the vampires.
Yeah.
Not initially, obviously.
Yeah.
But
and your career peaked in 2008.
Exactly. And I've never quite been the same. Just a shocking fall off since then. A kind of one-hit wonder for an actor. I'm not talking about Taylor Lautner. I'm talking about Jacob.
Sure.
Because he, would have more... He hated the vampires at first. But then, obviously, he ended up fathering. No, the baby imprinted on him. I've watched Twilight recently, but it's starting to wear away now. But I'm Jacob, I'm Jacob.
The wolf.
The werewolf. And the people who aren't crossing the road are the vampires. We don't get on. We're people who don't get on.
Okay, fine, yeah.
But I'm in love with one of... It's getting confusing now. Actually, I now... Because of some of this experience, I'm the wolf who goes, actually, I'm sad for the people that aren't crossing the road, and I want them to have a better life. And that then goes into annoyance. It annoys me because I'm going, hold on, look, we live in a society here. It's not you're going around going me. How do I get ahead? How do I cross this road, and why is it going to benefit me? I'm saying what benefits me, what benefits the society.
Oh, you think it's the big society?
It's big sock. we're big sock talking.
Yeah, I think I guess there's a slightly libertarian aspect to my beliefs where it's more like keep your nose out of other people's business.
Yep, do unto others as they'll do unto you. Of course.
The list is endless.
The list is endless. And it will end there for the purposes of this podcast because we can't think of any more. But no, it annoys me. I go, why can't you just take a step into that bloody road? It's our most metaphorical gripe because we're already talking very eloquently about philosophy. We brought chicken crossing the roads into it. There are beats to this story.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the people who don't, to the point of annoyance.
Yeah.
Just cross that road.
It's kind of weirdly Andrew Tate-y, this sort of view. It's kind of like the average man is a fucking pussy who doesn't know how to grab life by the balls. There's winners and there's losers.
But I think the non-road crossers are actually in the minority here.
And here I'll do counter argument. I feel me crossing the road at a red light, if everyone was like me, potentially would get in the way of me being able to do
Traffic.
it. Because it'd be a bit more of a problem.
Well, also part of this is that crossing the road is actually one of the best ways to tell culture. So the French, for instance, they cross the road. They don't wait for the cars wait for them. In Paris, you walk across the road. You don't. The cars stop for you.
Yeah, they've got a strong welfare state. It's about the people,
Yeah, it's about it's the haves and the have-nots a lot. It's you've got a car, I've got my feet. Who's going to go past me?
The feet. Yeah.
The feet. And they're also obnoxious.
Yeah. And they're holding baguettes.
They're holding baguettes, berets, stripy tops,
We
and
don't
onions.
just like,
That's my experience. Sue me if I'm wrong. Probably could. But in France, you have that, and then I'm trying to. You know what?
America, the jaywalking is a real. You get real punishment. You get
real punishments for it.
But that is because of the size of the roads.
Yeah, they're big, fat roads.
Yeah.
Big, large roads. Because the car is more important than the pedestrian in America.
Yes.
You can go in Asia, and it's just chaos. I'm not.
Wow.
I don't know what that means. Maybe take that back.
There's also just like how wide a net you've cast.
Yeah.
Just Asia.
To be fair, I've only ever been to Vietnam and Asia. That's not true either. But so I think it says something about the people.
Russia has seemingly the biggest roads I've ever encountered, but what they've done is they've built lots of subways underneath the roads. They seem to have actually overcome a lot of those problems quite well.
And what does that say about them?
Well, I guess it says it's a big fucking place.
Yeah, not the most profound, but one of my favorite things on the internet is
pornography.
Pornography. The words right out of my mouth.
Something you've got to check out.
I mean, what a segue. If we had pornography on the docket,
something
you've got to check out.
I absolutely love the
Guys,
internet.
I was on Google yesterday. And I just found pornography. Have you heard of pornography? No, one of my favourite things it's mostly in nature documentaries, but sometimes you see it on TikTok as well, is when people or countries make bridges for animals to cross the road.
Yes, yeah.
That's up there with feel good talk for me.
And do you feel good?
Yep, give that a save for
Yeah,
later.
it's great.
Yeah, I feel good with it.
It makes you feel like maybe we'll be all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe technology can save us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't lost our wonder.
Yeah.
And we care about things that aren't us.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to get across.
We talked a lot about. I don't want to get back to rewilding, but that gets my dick hard.
Is that
beavers are back in town?
Yeah, the beavers are back.
Beavers are back.
Can't walk down the road without kicking one of them.
Well, I think there's only 2 at the moment, but
sure.
it's a start.
They live on my road. No, it's nice that they're back. Well, I've actually everyone loved. Wait, beavers? Yeah, I've been thinking
Not Bevo.
Bevo's back. Does that get your dick on? You know what? I've been thinking of badgers this whole time. Beavers are back.
Yeah.
Can I see a beaver? Did we ever have beavers?
I think there's some really smart people working in the rewilding, and they're taking seemingly ambitious leaps with. It's all these ideas of like, why can't we have nice things? And there's always like, well, the council, yeah. And there's people, you know what I mean? And you feel like that in life. Well, it'd be great if we could do that. No, it's impossible. But
again,
it seems like these people are not being held back by that. Let's fucking get some bison. It's nice. So we used to have beavers.
That's so important.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
So I agree with you up to the point where you say, let's get some fucking bison.
Yeah.
But I agree that they're not clearly being held by the same regulations as such, I don't know, fire safety regulations.
Yeah, they just seem to have quite an open, they seem to have opened their third eye a little bit.
The beaver people.
No, the rewilding crew.
The rewilding crew.
Yeah, I like what's coming out of that sector at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm big into it.
My second gripe
Go on.
is that it was another pub altercation.
I mean, I shouldn't snigger. It's what keeps this podcast going.
It is, yeah, it's bread and butter. I go looking for them, really. It's like just then get in an altercation and just begrudgingly get out my phone and just write down what's a gripe, I suppose. Just for this, to do another week. New studio, keep it trudging along, same old shit.
Go on.
So wait, hold on, just quickly, because now we have a bit of a council here. So it's a knockoff of Room 101, isn't it? Really.
A second gripe then.
I was in the toilet in the cubicle.
Go for it.
No, I wasn't actually. I was in the queue to the cubicle. There was a
Pull
guy.
off king. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I needed to actually. And you weren't there actually, because usually you send me off to the toilet with Pull Off King, but no one was there to send me off with that. So I felt it was a bad start to the toilet experience already, because you'd left earlier, and there was only Matt there, and he wasn't going to Pull Off King. But no, I'd been the IBS had flared up because it was after we shot the next estate agent sketch, and I'd only eaten on breakfast early, and they did a lot of exercise, and then just piled some beers on, and that isn't doing too well with the old stomach fella. So I went down to this toilet, fairly trendy place, clientele a bit too trendy.
Toilets on the ceiling, that sort of stuff. I feel this is practical.
I know it looks good, but I just can't get my bum on it. I've tried, but I just can't get my bum
there's a
on it.
ladder and a trampoline on that wall, so you should be able
So you got to jump and poo. Yeah, I know. I was like, I know, but it's not.
You live in East London. What do you
expect? No, the toilets were on the floor, but I was waiting in the queue. There was someone in there for ages. Me, patiently, diligently waiting. I wasn't diligent in the toilets. I wasn't like an attendant.
Yeah.
But then eventually, guy comes out. I slip in, and then there was a guy standing behind me in the queue. I was in there for a minute. Bangs on the door. How long are you going to be, mate? And I went, I've just got in. And he went, yeah, but how many minutes? And I went, it's none of your business. And then...
Did you say that?
I said it.
Nice.
I'd had a few beers at that point. And I was really annoyed because I needed a minute.
Yeah.
I did the business.
Is it one cubicle?
No, there were two different toilets, so you could have gone to another toilet. But there was no inclination that I was going to be long. Well, maybe my face. That would be fair. So come on! Well, you'd think quick, maybe. At that point.
I guess.
If I'm there with a newspaper under my arm, then that's a fair question.
Or a 1,000-piece jigsaw.
Yeah. Well, I went in immediately. That happened. I went, it's none of your business. And then, in one of my pettier moves in life, I finished really surprisingly quickly. Actually, I'll spare you the details. I sat on TikTok for 5 minutes on my phone.
What? Nice. You
To
ground
piss
them
him
out.
off. I ground him out. And he was there waiting. Didn't say a word. Washed my hands in silence.
Yeah, this gripe's been passed through. It's whizzing through Parliament.
Good.
It's going through both houses. The Queen signed off.
The Queen's already on, yeah.
This is emergency. This needs to get through.
The Queen's dead, Horatio.
She is.
It's the King.
Yeah. Unless
she's not.
Maybe.
That is a take I haven't heard, and I'm on conspiracy.
The rewilding guys are rewilding the Queen.
Okay, are they introducing her to Shropshire?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not the most confident toilet guy. I do think it's already quite embarrassing shitting in public, and I think there needs to be more decorum and respect.
Yeah, so mine's quite specific. I don't think that's ever happened to me.
So you've just been in for a minute, and he wasn't doing it on the other door?
Well, no, because I was in front of the queue, so if he did that, he would have been
So
overstepping.
he saw that you'd only just got in there?
Yeah, he was there, the guy.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's
funny, he's sort of treating it like it's like a machine in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, how many sets left, mate? But he's no, it's fair enough if you do it after, if you yourself have been waiting there 5 minutes, but it was one, it was a bang, and it was too much anyway.
Sure.
It wasn't sorry mate, do you know how long you're gonna be? That fine.
If he came to you vulnerable,
he did
as opposed to aggressive, then I think you'd have more sympathy.
1,000%. If he went, mate,
how long are you going to be in there? Then you have a bit
absolutely.
And you wait, don't you worry, lad.
Don't you worry, I'm going to be as quick as I can. I'm going to be really quick for you. Don't you worry. You just hold on there, buddy.
Stay with me. Look at this. Look at this. Degenerating.
New
We
studio.
never normally talk about this sort of stuff.
No.
Absolute disgrace.
No, 100%. If it was met with a nicer tone, absolutely. And if it's like, I'm really sorry, mate, I'm absolutely busting. How long are you going to be? I'd hurry the fuck up. I'd absolutely hurry up. I'd probably leave too early at that point. But the other way, I'm not going to. I'm going to leave on. Both gripes through the door into Parliament. Excellent.
Speaking of Parliament, Keir Starmer has got into hot water recently.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Here we go.
Two things have really pissed me off about this whole Starmer
Here
thing.
we go. Is this Horatio's
Well, firstly, should we talk about
politics corner?
Should we talk about sausages first? It was great news notification.
I
Well, we
call
were together
again
as
for
well.
an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.
One more. Just roll it again.
Let's go again.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.
So I guess it's Biden-esque, and with Biden incredibly out the scene. It's funny thinking that Biden's still president, by the way. He's just disappeared. He's still technically the most powerful man in the world. We have no idea what he's doing.
Wandering into meadows.
It's a great political gaffe. I'm a big fan of the political gaffe. It does feel very British. You know, I don't know. I feel like the sausages aspect does give it a quaintness.
The funny thing about it is implies that he's always thinking about sausages.
Well, it's got a sort of Homer Simpson, you know, like a Homer Simpson thing where he's, and I love, and he sees sausages. Marge.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, no, it is a uniquely British slip up. Because sausages feel like an English thing.
Yeah, they are. We do sausages very well, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very, pork and apple.
Yeah. So it gives it like a parochialness to Starmer. Like, even though he's at this high office, he's still
Bring back the sausages. It's because it's such a sincere moment, obviously, because he's talking about hostages in Gaza. It's probably the most serious he would have had to be during that whole thing. And he just goes, sausages, the hostages.
Now, what do we think about the link between sausages and hostages? Does it make sense as a gaffe?
Let's just do it one more time and then we'll say what he would have
it seems a bit left field.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.
Right, so an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, that the return of the sausages. It implies
sausages.
Oh, I'm talking about what it would mean if it was.
No, I'm saying like how much of a.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's fair.
Hostages, sausages.
100%. They're similar. They're next to each other.
If I'm honest,
similar amount of syllables, same syllables. I think. Sauce, hoss. Yeah, a jizz. Okay.
A jizz. Yeah.
Okay. It's more than I thought.
No, it's absolutely fair linguistically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd make that slip up. To be honest, I absolutely would. Yeah. I'd be making that every day. I don't think I'd be able to say the word hostages, or I could only say sausages.
Yeah, if you said the return of the boiled ham.
Yeah, that's like, have you not had lunch yet? Boiled ham. It's the return of the sausages. It's the seriousness that makes it, because it's like, and he so clearly says sausages. Because it's one of those slip-ups that doesn't sound like, there's not a fumble. He really doesn't realise he's saying sausages until he's finished saying sausages. And by that point, he can only go, the hostages. Yeah. It's I always think, I love to hear, there's only one thought going around in every people's head who do that. That was a disastrous sentence. I've got
every people's head
who done that, do that. Sausages. I've got sausage brain. There's only one thought. Every political gaffe you see, I'd love to hear their thoughts, because it'd be the same for everything.
What's the thought?
It's just,
fuck, shit.
That's it. It's just,
fucking hell. Yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for gaffes. Biden took it too far, but I relate to a lot.
I think it's quite a forgivable it's Return of the Sausages is almost quite sweet. It's not the same as the Putin thing.
Yes.
It's not. Yeah.
No.
I feel like he almost gets away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I like him more because of it. I don't like him less.
The sausages.
Yeah. And his voice.
Yeah. I don't think anyone.
I guess if we're trying to think what would a speech where it would make sense to say sausages instead of hostages, I guess in my head it's like, a local council dispute.
Return the sausages.
It would be some sort of village, I imagine in Somerset, where a neighbour, as punishment because someone has maybe let his tree overgrow into his garden.
So he's nicked his sausages.
A long band of sausages out the window.
Right.
And he refuses to admit he's doing it.
Yeah.
And the other guy says, I leave my sausages to dry on my windowsill.
Yeah.
Like
an apple pie.
He goes, and he flies over like that warm, in the cartoon where there's a smell. He smells raw sausages. And he's been stealing the sausages every day and then denying it. And the guy's going crazy, so he's taken it to the lowest court in the land, which would be like a local kind of council.
Who says return the sausages?
That guy, someone who's trying to resolve an incredibly low-level domestic dispute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he meant sausages, though. Maybe he wasn't a gaff.
What? Oh.
So what was happening in Gaza with the return of the sausages?
Oh, I see. So do you think he knows something that we don't? Wait, do you think potentially the real gaff was that he let slip
Exactly.
classified information?
Classified info from the FBI, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The key to the Israel-Palestine conflict.
I guess what adds an interesting element to the sausage gate.
Sausage gate.
Yeah.
Sausage pie. Sausage and chips.
Is that I believe, certainly Jewish people can't, but Jewish and Muslims cannot eat pork.
So there's a charge there. There's something
going on there.
There's something in it. Return the sausages. So are we saying maybe?
Because I guess in some way, a sausage is no man's land.
Whoa.
If I was on neither side, let's say I'm a Sikh in there. I'm a Gazan Sikh.
You're waggling sausages at both sides.
No, I'm hiding in a sausage. And everyone's like, fuck, neither side.
But they might both bomb it. The sausage, because they hate them.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'd hide in the sausage.
You've poked holes in my theory.
In your sausage, like a fork before you put them in the oven.
Yeah.
You actually shouldn't do that, by the way.
Why not?
I don't know. I read it on a packet.
Cool.
No, I'm just briefly, Charlie. I don't think people.
Okay, sorry. This is pretty good, actually. From
sausage
Charlie.
theft cases. Luke Brummett. In July 2024, Brummett was fined £40 for stealing over £30 worth of sausage rolls, so it's only really a £10 fine, and chicken fillets from the food warehouse in Milford Haven. He had 372 previous convictions, including 218 for theft.
These are all quite recent.
Anthony Stutchbury.
The same month.
In July 2024, Stutchbury admitted to stealing sausages, a hot dog, and other food items from Co-op and Aldi shops in... That's a bit... His haul was £35, and that's on the first page of Google. I'd be furious.
Return of the sausages.
Mate Stutchbury gives them back to the local Aldi in Leominster. Man arrested for stealing sausage rolls killed himself after police labelled him a paedophile.
Right.
Now,
this article is 2 years old. They've warned.
Let's just read that again briefly. Man arrested for stealing sausage rolls killed himself after police labelled him a paedophile. The only way that headline is legit, should be allowed to be as it is if the sausage rolls theft have something to do with him being a paedophile.
Wait, so is it because of genuine human error, they said? Because I don't know. Maybe this is bad from me, but the information I'm getting, I do sort of feel... I do assume he's a paedophile.
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah. Because
it was like he was one of Britain's worst paedophiles, and somehow stealing a sausage roll led to his downfall. This is kind of interesting. A man who was arrested from stealing Greggs sausage rolls killed himself after being mistakenly described by police as a paedophile, an inquest has heard. Brian Temple, 34, from Redcar, killed himself on...
have you ever heard of Redcar as a
Never
place?
heard
I've
of
heard
it.
of Redcar. Always makes me laugh.
Killed himself on New Year's Eve in 2017, almost 7 months after the alleged theft of a packet of Greggs snacks. Teesside's Corners Court was told. When he was left out of custody, Temple's release papers wrongly stated that he had been suspended of inciting sexual relations with a 13-year-old girl. Temple did not know the error when he gave the papers to his then-girlfriend, the court heard. When she then began spreading the incorrect information, Temple was subject to verbal... Oh my God. So it's actually legit.
Temple did not know... So what happened?
That's a massive scandal. I've never heard of Temple.
That's
the case of the sausage rolls.
That's crazy. Because what's happened there is he's clearly got a letter that's just explained his whole thing, and he was like, "Oh, you want to check? Yeah, the whole sausage roll thing we sorted
And
out."
it's gone like
and he gave
paedophile.
it to his girlfriend, but quite relaxed. Said,
Now-
"Oh yeah, there it is." And then the girlfriend was like,
Imagine, and I feel for Temple here.
I really feel for Temple.
Imagine that happens to you, and you just give her the papers, and then she freaks out, and you're like, "Well, it was only a fucking sausage roll," and then she's calling you a paedophile. She spread it around to friends and
And
family.
she thinks every time
and
you
your
say
only
sausage roll-
defense
Yeah.
is that no, I was nicked for stealing a sausage roll. No one's believing you.
Yeah.
There's no chance. You'd be like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean it was a sausage roll? You're a paedophile. You're lying. It was a sausage roll."
It's Occam's razor, isn't it? The simplest answer is always the truth, apart from here, when it's not.
Well, the simplest answer is the truth, is that it was just a sausage roll.
I guess so.
I did just steal a sausage. He's got us again! God damn it! That's fucking nuts, isn't it?
Oh, well, R.I.P. Brian Temple. This feels like a Toby Jones ITV drama's written all over it.
It's one for us. It really
We need
is.
Temple's story told.
Now, again, all sympathy for Temple, etc. But why?
Go forth.
Surely you say, look, this is absolutely mental. Let's go back to the police station because these papers are incorrect, and say, bring the girlfriend. Say, just before you freak out, just give me a chance to clear this up with the police.
Yeah, I'd have a couple more options before I killed myself if I was Brian Temple.
If it was me, if I was Temple, and thank God I'm not, because he's really gone through the ring.
Yeah.
But if I stole a sausage roll and then got nipped by the police and then came back, gave my girlfriend the papers, and she said, "You're a paedophile," I'd go, let's all calm down for 1 second. This is going to get out of hand very quickly. Hold on. I'm saying that to the girlfriend. I'm saying, hold on. They've made a mistake on my papers. I want you to know I'm not a paedophile. Let's go back to the police station and say, remember me? You've just released me for sausage roll theft. You've called me a paedophile. Can we get this cleared up?
But maybe what happened is that she found out and then freaked out and didn't tell him.
Yeah, this is what I think. Clearly, I think is what happened
And was
because
just
he
like,
didn't
"Oh
know
my
that it was on
God."
the sheet, or
Right.
he left it out on the kitchen counter. I imagine.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, that's
And
the whole
she
thing.
didn't-
Finally, we dealt with that. It was 35 quid's worth of sausage rolls.
But
I don't
as
need to
soon
bring
as
that
it-
up.
look-
And then his girlfriend comes and says, "What's this?"
But he's getting
Oh my
right.
God.
It would have been pretty quick that he was starting to get the abuse that led him to kill himself, right?
Yeah, but I think if you're a pedo and you say I'm not a paedophile,
I know, but
That's exactly what a pedo would say.
yeah. But no, but you can surely get clarification from the police. As soon as it comes to you, they're like, people are being acting weird around me. What the fuck's going on? And then eventually it gets to the physical abuse or whatever. So you're like, what's going on? It's like, you're a pedo, aren't you, mate? And
No, I'm a sausage roll
No,
fan.
I like rolls. I like baked pastry with meat in them. It sounds like another euphemism.
Yeah.
But no, surely you go straight to the police and you say, look,
Yeah.
you've
I
got
agree.
something wrong here. I'm sure there's more to the Temple story
Probably
than
is.
the mainstream media reporting.
But speaking of, I guess bacon bonces, nonces, is there a
Twinkle
link there?
twances.
Well, something with sausage rolls.
Actually, there was one because
Porky.
I just said, "You dirty pervert," and that was a famous line from Phillip Schofield from
Well,
this
and
morning.
that brings us on to Phillip Schofield.
From this morning, disgraced.
Disgraced TV host Phillip Schofield in an interesting career move.
Yeah.
He is stranding himself on a desert island for a week
yeah.
for a TV show so that he can tell his side of the story while also having a survival element to the show.
What's the funniest way for Phillip Schofield to come back?
There's one of them. Oh, you mean, I would say...
Total wipeout, just a brief run, just kind of tease his face for a minute, but not really.
I
go
eventually
into
falls
it.
off immediately and no one forgives him.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, so Schofield's obviously been at the head of his fucking field for a while. He's a top broadcaster, he's been around for a long time. So it is interesting seeing someone... Yeah, he has a big ego. And I think the fact that his whole identity's been taken away from him, everything's been taken away from this, his reputation's in tatters. It is interesting to see his real, no, I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm going to come out and attack this.
Well,
Yeah.
what's interesting is that most disgraced people end up going to the right and end up at the Republican National Conference.
Yeah, so it is quite refreshing to see
It's quite
Schofield
refreshing
on...
saying, no, I'm going to come back to exactly where I fucking was. I'm going to be on terrestrial TV at prime time.
Yeah, I guess so, but I do think the concept is quite interesting because being cancelled is like being on a desert island in some ways.
Yeah, and then he's actually going to say everything, you'd presume. If he doesn't talk about it at all, then put him back in the bin.
I've been cast away on a desert island completely on my own. All I have is camera gear, and I can say
And 5 14-year-old boys. to keep
How did
me
they get on
company.
the island? Brass eye, isn't it? But
It's my chance to tell my side of my story.
If it's him wanking over a child.
But is it enough to absolutely destroy someone?
Phillip Schofield, Castaway, starts Monday.
in fairness, I haven't been excited for a Channel 5 programme for a long time.
It's true. There is a poetry to this because Channel 5 as a channel is in many ways this desert island. It's the remote. It's the outskirts. And he's having a star on there. You can only have it if they get accused of paedophilia.
Exactly.
You know?
It's going to be interesting viewing.
I kind of support, I mean, we do sympathise a lot with paedophiles in this podcast. It's one of our faults. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm rooting for him.
Am I rooting for him? I'm ready to hear him.
Yeah. Do you think there's bad optics having paedophiles on islands?
Yeah.
Seeing as we've just been through that?
Yeah, again, it's like, we've accidentally put him on Epstein's island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is actually the thing I've been thinking about most this week, actually, is we were talking about how badly Keir Starmer's being treated in the media, I think.
We were. That was a private conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like out the gate,
Yeah, because
everyone's out to get him.
There was a quote from Andrew Neil, who's that politics commentator who's melting. But he said that this is one of maybe the worst start to a government in the last century.
Yeah.
Which are just like, how are we even beginning to
Yeah.
appreciate that can be any kind of truth? It's absolute nonsense.
It's rubbish.
Liz Truss.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was saying it was the worst, it's just odd. And it does seem,
I saw a Sky analysis talking about how awful at the beginning of his tenure has gone. It's just
I just don't
feel
get
like
it.
give him a second just to do something.
Give him a fucking minute, especially with the state of the country now, broken Britain. But he is, so the big controversy would be the winter fuel tax. That seems to be the biggest one.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, that seems, I don't know, we need to make some cutbacks somewhere.
Yeah. As I was saying to you, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care.
Yeah, we're young, so what's the problem?
I don't see the problem.
What's all the issue? And then, the other thing about him releasing prisoners from jail early because there's not enough space in the prisons is like, do people not understand how problems occur? They don't occur at the point of which the problem is identified, but rather before that problem.
Yeah, it seems crazy to judge him so early. But the hospitality box scandal, I think, is it's symptomatic of a lot of problems in British politics with our obsession with kind of petty things that we don't actually care about, and we pretend we do to try and undermine power, which I think often ends up having not beneficial consequences. I think, so what happened was he got gifted a hospitality box at Arsenal, right? And people lost their shit because they said corruption, he should pay for it. But my view is, he's the boss. He's our boss. He's the most powerful man in the country. He should be. Why are we obsessed with cucking out our leaders so hard? It's embarrassing. He's technically, power-wise, he's the king now in many ways. He should be allowed to be in a director's box at Arsenal. They invited him, of course they would. He's the most powerful man in the country. Why are we saying pay for your own box? KSI was invited up to director's box. If you're an influencer, you get a free box. He's the fucking leader of the country. What the fuck are we talking about? Why would you care that he gets a free box? You voted him in. It's the most important job in the country. Can he not flash the cash a little bit? Can he not live a little bit of the sexiness of power? I'm not saying be like Berlusconi, where you're having a bunga bunga party every weekend, but he's not. It's Keir Starmer. He's going to watch the football game.
That's the most animated I've ever seen you be.
It really pissed me off. It's like, who the fuck cares?
So it wasn't just a football game.
Yeah.
He was accepting clothes.
Accepting?
Yeah, gifts. You're not allowed to accept gifts. I'm not allowed, as part of my work, to accept a gift above the value of £250.
You're a nobody.
I am a nobody. I am a nobody, but still, there's a reason why. And I entirely agree with you here. There's a reason why you're not allowed to accept gifts and things, because it means that undue influence can occur. So it depends who is inviting him to the Arsenal bot. So they can be like, what, can you now kill the Gurkhas?
Keir.
Kill
the Gurkhas.
At half time. Cords in his mouth.
Do us a favour, Keir.
Could you just
kill the fucking
kill the Gurkhas? No, so...
Do you know what I fucking hate?
Yeah,
the Gurkhas.
The Gurkhas. Yeah, so there's a reason of it, and like actually valuable gifts you shouldn't accept like really valuable gifts. But going to see a football game and there was like bits of clothing, why it doesn't actually matter. Who fucking cares?
Who cares? And it's also, I guess, when there's so much going on in geopolitics, there's so much about international relationships, you're going to big summits with other leaders. I think it is embarrassing how much we are committed to undermining the power of our leaders. You know, he is going to be negotiating with Putin at some point, and I do think it reflects badly when Putin, I'm not saying he should be like Putin, but Putin's got a mega mansion with bears fighting or whatever. You know, he's got a collection of fucking saddles or whatever it is. He has so much, and then I don't know. I don't know. We don't get to know, but we know that there's a lot of stuff, and that imbues him with a certain confidence. He then meets Keir, who's not allowed to go to watch his football, you know.
Yeah, in a box.
In a box. And it's just embarrassing.
I agree with you that people are making a big deal out of nothing, but I don't think we should be pimping out the people who are making decisions.
It can obviously go too far, but I think there's sometimes, when there's so many, there's big tech, there's money from big business, there's people who are pimping out all the time. I do think sometimes we like to cut the legs out from real authority.
Can you not see the argument as to why? Because I'm playing devil's advocate here. But can you not, the reason as to why is because they're not making, big tech are making decisions based on business.
Yeah.
Politicians need to make decisions based on the people. So the more on like in business, if you're making, I don't know, part about forming relationships is you're just doing it essentially for money, right? But then if you then, you know, it's like taking clients out to dinner and schmoozing them and getting different deals.
Networking.
Fine. Yeah, but so like, and then accepting gifts can be bribery and things, but also you want your politicians to be a bit more of a man of the people, so that there's an understanding of what country you're ruling and they're making the right decisions based upon that.
Partly, I also want a bit of Donny Bossman. For real.
You want a bit of swag.
I want a bit. I think it's something. It reflects your country a little bit, and like.
But you're talking just about international relations.
The president would never have anything like this. Obviously,
they always do. The presidents get like shit about
would never
accepting gifts and stuff. There's been plenty of scandals.
I mean,
about
the president getting a box at a basketball game, no one would give a flying fuck.
No, I don't know.
It's Donny Bossman.
It's Donny Bossman.
Let him sit in the comfy seat. Let him have those Fiji waters from the fridge for free. He's boss man.
To be honest, it's more just a bit of a security issue as well.
Yeah, that's the practical.
But it wasn't. It was, the thing is, like, he's been invited by someone. That's where undue influence.
It's the director. He's been invited by the director. It's his favourite club.
And he's an Arsenal fan, isn't he?
He's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. That's the reason that nullifies it for me. Is like he's clearly there because he wants to watch the game.
Yeah. And I just think in general, even if I don't like the leader of the country, I do want them fucking...
You want like a pimp chain, right?
Sort of, a little bit. I don't want it to go that far, but I just think other countries have that. It leads to a lot of problems, but I just think it does undermine their authority.
I think it's a pretty... America, you've got the aviators and the jacket.
Yeah.
And there's just a bit of swagger being the
Air
leader
Force One, there's all that shit.
Yeah, but you need you can't have Air Force One in the UK because you just get on a fucking train, you know.
Yeah.
But but again, it's about, there's always the sniff. This is why this is ridiculous, because there's not even a sniff of corruption whatsoever. Yeah. There's no corruption there at all when you compare it to the Tories.
Well, I don't know what kind of clothes his wife was wearing.
They could be gorgeous.
Yeah.
They could be stunning.
And they're not paid that much in politics. That's another problem. That's a problem that seemingly... It's one of those things where it's seeming like a weird one that everyone agrees with.
Yeah.
That politicians should be paid more.
Yeah.
Or everyone thinks is a really interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
I actually think politicians should be paid more. Because then they won't accept, and I think it does feed into that narrative. Yeah. Where I do think sometimes starving politicians of having any fun. Or being able to, they've got in there for power and it's like, no, you need to be... by hand filling in potholes in Shropshire. I think I just think we're obsessed with cucking out the leader, and I just think
cucking out.
It's embarrassing for Keir, and also I think Keir. I don't see Keir as someone who's the most indulgent man. I don't think he's like. He's not like a Boris Johnson figure, right? He seems quite
absolutely. Yeah.
And I just think once again, I have this weird empathy for leaders.
Yeah. It's leaders and paedophiles.
Yeah. I think with Keir, he has worked his whole life to get to this job. He's finally got it. And I don't think he's asked for a lot. And then he got invited to the director's box. And I think he turned to his wife and he was
we've been invited to the game on that.
And he got really excited about it. And I think he was sitting in there and he was just thinking, I think for that game, it's been quite a stressful beginning to his tenure. And I think for that game, he was like, I'm bloody... I'm the fucking leader.
I'm watching the Gooners.
I'm the boss. This is great. This is the kind of stuff that happens at the top.
A lot of your arguments
and
are
now he's
revolving
like,
around...
I did not accept any corruption. You know, he has to go... And it's just under... You know, that
a lot of
lovely
your
moment's
argument
been ruined.
A lot of your argument is surrounded by the concept of the Donny Boss man.
Yeah. I guess I do want him in a fur coat, but I'm not trying to sell that to the British public.
No,
I am trying to sell the idea that he's allowed to go... You know, watch a football game and throw his weight around a little bit. The fur coat, that comes out later. We build to that. I do want bunga bunga parties eventually.
Yeah, but we need to build up to bunga bunga parties.
Yeah.
Look, as a wise man once said, you know, mountains can be made out of molehills. Thanks very much, guys.
We'll see you next week. Live podcast and special.